of white capital and imperialist project. That's why you can't see even when President Zuma is trying to make a left hand. When President Zuma recalls South Africa from the ICC, the imperial bulldog that harasses African leaders, it's a left hand. When President Zuma supports BRICS in the manner that he has, it's a left hand. But the most important evidence of President Zuma's left hand is the following. If you listen to his SONA speech, for the first time since 1994, a president says land expropriation without compensation. This is the first ever time that a president of this country says black people, that's what it means, that statement. Land expropriation without compensation means land was stolen from black people and land must be restored to black people without paying a cent. This is the most radical statement you can ever have. That is a left-hand project. Now, President Brother Vavirada marches with white capital. He has never marched against, for instance, we march against APSA. APSA is very corrupt. White capital, even his intervention, he has not once mentioned the corruption of white capital. He is, see, you see, just like the professor, I think there's a crisis in the professorial class. You can't proceed on the basis of analysis by gossip. Cheap moralism. There was a time professors helped society to understand what's going on. Not anymore. They are also bought agents of the same white project. So what is the problem in South Africa? Let's go to the fundamentals, man. Let's leave the gossip alone, a professor. The fundamental question here is that we have white capital that still owns South Africa. Look at the JSE, for example. I'm sure you know that statistic. You know the statistics of ownership of black people in the economy. You know the statistic of the fact that they don't have land. Look at the fundamental question. What is the fundamental question? Settler monopoly capitals own South Africa. Me, you, all of us here, we have nothing in this country. Yes. Everything is with white people. It is not by accident. It is as a result of colonialism and apartheid. What do we do to resolve the problem? President Zuma says, let's get rid of Pravin Gordhan. Let's go to Treasury. Let's make sure that Treasury undertakes a radical economic transformation. President Zuma says, let's take land without paying for it. That is the most important intervention we need. Not this matches against cheap. Everyone here, if we want, I can go to your file. Each of you accused of corruption, accused of abusing power. So, you know, let us not deal with cheap moralism. Let us help the country. Let's help black people get out of this problem we're in.
Okay, so listen, Mamavi. No. I could see that you are saying that no, that is not true. There isn't any 10 to the left.
I came here prepared, by the way, that I'm going to be shocked. I'm psychologically ready to get all of these shocking statements that are being uttered here. There is no rumor. There is a public protector report. It points out the roots and the networks that Professor Ndlejana is speaking about, of corrupt networks of patronage, of people feeding on the carcass of our people. The president is being asked to allow the Chief Justice to appoint an independent judicial commission of inquiry to investigate and to put to rest all of those allegations that are placed there. It's not a rumor. It is the public protector report. The Chapter 9 institution have said there's something there. President Zuma does the usual. He runs to court to delay that so that he can appoint himself the commission that will investigate himself. What's the issue here? Secondly, there's no rumor. President Zuma is a refugee from justice, and he has been since 2005. There are 783 charges hovering above his head, and he has done everything to make sure that that doesn't see the light of the day. Fortunately for him, or unfortunately, that is going to run out now April or May in the Supreme Court of Appeal or in the Constitutional Court. Whether he likes it or not, he will have to have his day with the magistrate or the judge to answer to those 783 charges. This is not a rumor. This is what South Africans know. And secondly, if there was a left-wing turn, I would have known, workers would have known about it. No, hold on. I would have known about it from the ANC processes. We have been there, we've read the January 8th statement, which is a statement of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. And there's no left-wing turn there. We were there and we saw the statement of the cabinet in preparation for the State of the Nation address. There is no left-wing turn there. And let me tell you that the left-wing turn will be if Gigaba on Friday, when he was speaking to the people of South Africa, if he have announced the programs as follows, then I will say, aha, he's now talking. If he was going to say, we've gotten rid of that neoliberal Pravin Gordhan, who was running an austerity budget to the point that we're now spending below 0% per person for the first time since democracy. Not because of the decisions of one man, Comrade Magdalene. That's not true. Because of the decisions of the collective. But Malusi Gigaba doesn't say so. He says those programs Pravin has been implementing were developed by us in the executives, and we will be continuing with what he has been doing. And what he has been doing, he have reduced the levels of taxes on the white monopoly capital, with Zuma ululating. He has been...
so you have nothing to say about...
No, hold on, I'm coming, don't jump. He has been reducing the taxes on the white monopoly capital from around 50% during apartheid, now around 28%. The target is to reduce it to 25%. He has been talking about rather increasing the tax, the VAT, in order to meet obviously the gap that is going to grow as a result of that. They have been privatizing together. They have been outsourcing together. They have been putting everything else to tender together. Gigaba says to the country, we will continue with those programs. Now, let me make a difference between a cheap propagandist, what you call it, populism, in the same form of Robert Mugabe. When his back was against the wall in Zimbabwe, he suddenly remembers that I've done nothing about the question of land. He remembers it, just like President Zuma is remembering in 2017.
We support Mugabe.
No, hold on. He remembers that, oh my God, I'm losing power here. The opposition parties are gaining strength. There's an EFF that is championing the issue of land. And oh, people love this land question. So even if there is no such a policy in the ANC, because there isn't, there is no, that's why ANC others will go this way and go this way. There is no such a policy of the ANC.
Andile, the doyen of leftism,
what
Zelensky Mavabi says that
Yeah, but he doesn't understand social programs.
Zelensky Mavabi says that you are entangled.
No, he doesn't understand social change.
Social
change.
Yeah. No, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
No, social change.
No. Let me just get the professor. I'll come to you.
Yeah. It's good that you say the professor, because there's a difference. There's a difference between a professor and a mercenary.
Absolutely.
There's a difference, a fundamental one. Professors have respect for the truth and facts. Mercenaries don't care for the truth. They say whatever money leads them to. They are hired assassins. They are henchmen. They say whatever, right? For anyone who says that Jacob Zuma is a radical,
Oh my word.
self-delusional. I mean, that's delusion. You have created a reality and you don't care what facts say, you believe it anyway, and you're pushing it. It's absolute nonsense. Why am I saying that? 2 points. 2 points.
Don't be angry, Chief.
2 points.
No, it's not. I know it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not.
On the issue of, I even doubt the nationalist credentials of Jacob Zuma today.
No, there isn't.
Right? What he has done is a betrayal of African nationalism. One of the commitments nationalism makes to addressing national grievance, dispossession, is to return the land and wealth to indigenous capital, established or aspiring. What we are seeing here is an empowerment of expatriate capital. Individuals who have hardly been here for 20 years. Business people, black business people have been complaining that even when the president goes on international trips, these fellows are brought along as representative of black people, black business. This is the Guptas that we're talking about, right? So he's empowering expatriate capital at the expense of indigenous capital. A betrayal of African nationalism. First point. Second point, if you look at the expenditure patterns on presidential houses going back to Mandela, look at what was spent on Jacob Zuma's house and compare that to previous expenditure.
That's a left project.
Right? And monies were diverted from public works budgets because there wasn't enough money to build this palace in the rural areas. Monies had to be gotten from other departments to build this house. Right? And this is a radical. Come on. I mean, really now.
Is that the best shot? Are those the best shots on this matter?
Bit of tolerance would be good. You know, so to say that someone is a radical, surely you can't base it on that. I mean, this is delusional.
But
there's no reality in that. So how do we believe this nonsense? I mean, really.
I get from the Prof. Andile that you are entangled in theoryless imperialism and dataless platitude.
No, but this is precisely his problem.
No facts.
No, but this precisely, he reads the newspapers, that's the problem.
He reads the newspapers.
That's the fundamental problem. I mean, we really cannot proceed by gossip. Gossip mongering from professors is a problem. That's why our students are the way they are. Yeah. And that's why they want decolonized education, because our professors are captured in the head. You see, talking about, this is the cheap politics I wish we can get out of. President Zuma, Pravin Gordhan said he must pay only 8 million rand. That is only the money that is liable to pay. Now, this man will not even say that. And President Zuma paid the money. President Zuma went further and asked for forgiveness. Both Velinzi Mavavi and the professor have said nothing about white capital. Do you realize this? But Velinzi Mavavi, I challenge him. I said to him, that the left hand, if you listen a little bit, the left hand of President Zuma, the fundamental indication is when he says land expropriation without compensation. Mind you, he says this during the State of the Nation address as the state president. Now, of course, inside the ANC, there are those who are captured by white capital and imperialism who are fighting against President Zuma. That is why our movement, Black First, Land First, says, hands off President Zuma, economic liberation now. As far as the president is as the president of the country, Zuma, he's providing direction to where change should go. He says, now, let us move away from all the things we have done to now, and let us have radical transformation. Pravin Gordhan did not support him. We are very happy that he's got rid of Pravin Gordhan. The talk of Gugaba, of course, we are very clear Gugaba must go if himself maintains the neoliberal project. However, let us also be clear, reality is we are under attack. The rating agencies are taking the South African economy as we speak. Gigaba has to be tactical at this moment how he deals with those. He's not going to simply say, we're getting rid of these people and so on. He's giving them something to stop, and we hope they'll get rid of the governor of the Reserve Bank. They'll nationalize the Reserve Bank. We're very clear about what we want from Gigaba. We want also them to come back and deal with issues of banks. We need black banks. This will not happen under Pravin because Pravin has shares in the banks. Pravin is deeply corrupt. White capital is so corrupt that we know the Competition Commission has come out. Vavi will not say anything about Competition Commission. Mcebisi will not say anything about the Competition Commission because they speak for white capital. The corruption of white capital to them does not exist because they need to attack black people, and Zuma and the Guptas are a problem. That narrative, by the way. Why the professors don't tell us what is the wealth of the Guptas in comparison to the wealth of white capital? You'll not tell that, but he says he deals with facts. No, he doesn't deal with facts. He deals with ideology of backwardness, an ideology that protects white capital in the same way my brother here, Vavi, matches with white capital.
You are going to have an opportunity to respond. I just want to get just a final word from Magdalene. Then I am going to open the debate to my esteemed audience.
I think what is delusional is when a leader of a party says white people bought the land and they negotiated it. Now what that is symptomatic of is a level of lunacy that is currently capturing the imagination of those who do not understand the unresolved national question. And when we start to break the issue of the national question down, you can't see it in relation to what seems to be a non-racial march. Because behind the very same mobilization of people is a pseudo intention of remaining and keeping the unresolved national question. And that unresolved national question leads directly to what Comrade Vavi refers to when he speaks about our rates of inequality, economic inequality, etc. But there is a correctness in what Comrade Vavi says. Because the ANC cannot speak about expropriation without compensation. If its economic policy document replaces the issue of willing buyer, willing seller with market-based value, once you go to the issue of market-based value, you haven't in any possible way resolved the issue of a full expropriation without compensation. And I think you must be honest, Andile, because that really is not a change to the left. And I feel that that would be then. Yesterday there was a assertion that was made that there's no capacity or capability to implement the NDP. And we've been speaking about an NDP. People have told us the NDP is the most efficient macroeconomic policy that's going to bring change. It has dismally been unable to be implemented because there is no teeth, there is nothing that's being able to be utilized sufficiently. My question then is, when you start to read the current environment and the opportunism that exists in the environment surrounding those individuals who want to capture a moment, because the enemy, and I want to raise this issue, and maybe it's something that Comrade Vavi will respond to. How have we taken from the understanding of a national democratic revolution, apart from who is an African nationalist? Let's isolate the African nationalist and who is it? We understand an enemy of an NDR to be not an individual. Our society has currently reduced our theoretical understanding and what we want to achieve, both in terms of a national question or an economic question, to an individual. And we've allowed ourselves to reduce an entire liberation struggle just to an individual. I think we are being dishonest, and we are not defending, or we are allowing ourselves to be captured by the same propaganda machinery that those who read newspapers become misled by.
Thank you very much. I'm going to open this debate to you, my esteemed audience. I'm going to start with you. Just be brief, quick, straight to the point.
Okay, thanks for this opportunity. And I appreciate the panel that was presented to us. I also agree that it needs to be. I'll state the reasons why. The reason is that, yes, I agree that Zuma made a left turn or U-turn. I agree to that. And then I also agree that Zuma, if you check in the history of South Africa under the new dispensation after the dawn of democracy, you will see that we had Liebenberg. Then we had Trevor Manuel, who was understudying Liebenberg. Then we had Godin. Then we had Godin removed, and somebody from
the Guptas brought in, who stayed only for a few days, if not weeks. Then he made a U-turn, which you can say a left turn. I will agree, Maki. For sure you agree with me. He reinstated there so that he can continue there. My problem now of what Zuma is doing is the timing. And if I get an academic or professional protecting Zuma, really I shiver. I don't understand why. Because the timing, we are 23 years now into the democracy. And these things that they say Zuma, good things Zuma is trying to do, of economic emancipation, etc., he could have done them 23 years back. But why now? So we take this as an election ploy.
Yeah.
I blame the ANC-led government, not the ANC. I see here there's a misconception that we always say the ANC-led government was a tripartite, and the tripartite is a cool one. I also blame Bati. You know very well. If you have the list that I have here, you'll see that it's not only ANC MPs there. There are COSATU MPs.
Yeah.
There are SSCP members. So
Thank you very much, because we try to manage time.
okay,
So I'll greatly appreciate if we can keep our comments and questions very short.
The developmental state uses the SOEs. Now, our Zuma, who is spouting this constitution now and again, is selling these SOEs to the Guptas. They are manufacturing armaments. They've got one in their own, isn't it? And
Okay.
where are we going?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Let me take over.
Yeah, I think I want to direct my question to Andy. Andy, is the BLM a manifestation of a rebel group positioned to defend a captured faction within the ANC?
That's a straightforward question, Andy, which is directed to you. I'm going to Pupuru at the back there.
Thanks. My question to all panelists, in my view, that the current state is informed by the battle of the bourgeoisies, the old bourgeoisies who still want to maintain their structure, and the new bourgeoisies who want to also emerge in the process. And they may be Indian, black, and so on, and white included. Now, I want you to perhaps assist us on this particular analysis as to whether is it indeed that you could have this kind of the response of international capitalists to our country based only on one element of or one family of a bourgeois, which is so-called the Gupta. I mean, if that analysis does exist, to me, it will present a lazy kind of an analysis, because there is historical materialism would assist us in this particular analysis. But I want to hear you. Maybe perhaps when we come back. We'll
Okay, thank you very much. I guess that the panel got it. Yes.
But for me, I think Comrade Vavi, also my elder though, both of you are elders to me. I think these two guys, also the professor, there's this thing, Zuma rejects this thing of schools, he still has his standard 2, he's a professor. Now here's the difference here and the problem. He's talking about 23 years after, and then Zuma says, let's take back the land. Uvavi, who reject Mugabe. Now, we say these people here, white people, no one here has said anything about white people. The room is full of black people. My brother, also the brothers talk about the Guptas. You know, Umusami is a black person. If all of us in this room, we steal a piece, if we still love black people, how do we also, when we talk about the so-called nationalists that oh, this man is getting us out of the country, maybe the Guptas who are Indians from India are benefiting. Therefore, why are black people in the country, Africans not are benefiting? This is the problem.
Okay.
White people are benefiting in this country.
Okay.
No one is investigating. 200 and something million rents. How much this person owns? The land. Zuma only have a land. that they say you said the money.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. I could see that my audience is turning into a panel now. They are responding to each other. Let's just raise questions, comments, and give my panel an opportunity to respond. I'm gonna go back to. She's going to kill me. Let me just take her. I'm going to the back there. Then from there I'll end somewhere here. Yeah, I'm taking you.
Yeah, no.
See. Now I'm going to another person now.
No, it's fine. The question that I wanted to ask,
Yes.
I want us to think about.
Yeah.
Since when have white people cared about the plight of black people in this country?
That's the question.
It's an open secret that they own the land and they own the wealth, and it's an open secret that they have done nothing about that.
Thank you very much.
And the ANC has been in power for 23 years. They've had no political power to do it. But Zuma says, let's do it now. Black people are preoccupied on the timing and whether it's... But Zuma is saying, we must do it now.
Do it now. Thank you very much. Do it now. Thank you very much.
Black people don't want to take
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your question was very clear. Let me take you, my brother. Let me take you, my brother. I'm coming to you, my lady.
Okay. Thank you, program facilitator. I think part of my challenge with the question, perhaps the framing, starting there, is whether apartheid was ever dismantled.
Was apartheid ever dismantled? I think that's a question that you're asking.
Because when you look at how we took over, it was embraced from the first Minister of Finance, from all the policies. This is the first point. The second, I'm going to make a few straightforward points. The second point is that when you look at the ANC's 12-point plan, which they rely on, and they term the radical economic program, if you look at point 3 specifically, I'm going to skip point 1, which says land reform will be fast-tracked within the constitutional means, despite that having failed over the past 23 years. If you look at point 3 says 30% of government expenditure will be set aside for blacks, small and medium enterprises. Now, who are blacks in our definition? It's Africans, it's colored, it's Chinese, and it's Indians. And when you begin to delve into the small and medium-sized enterprises, you're also talking about white small businesses, small and medium business enterprises. So if you look at this and you aggregate a percentage of the population, you're looking at about 93% of that population.
So basically you are saying that the real intended beneficiaries of 30% getting the 30%.
But why 30%? Why assign?
I get you.
Why assign 30%?
Why assign 30%?
To a largest ratio of the population.
Great, I get your point.
The third point, which is interlinked, last week on Friday, as we were protesting here, late in the afternoon, there was a protest outside the Gupta compound. The LF went there to disrupt that protest. What was the intention and what is the mandate? Why defend the Guptas?
Okay, I think the question is quite simple. Why did you go there and defend the Gupta family? Okay, no. That just, your last has always been last, man. That last has always been there. Let me get Magadi.
When is the LF going to Congress?
Don't do those things. Congress and
You're supposed to be a Democrat.
Who says
You
we're
must be
Democrats?
a
What are you?
legitimately elected
We're
leader.
revolutionaries, man.
Magadi.
Yo, this is rather scary, eh? Hey.
Yeah.
Man.
Please. Let's just try to listen to each other. Yes, my brother. Just a comment, not a speech, right?
Yeah, I would have loved the situation where we actually afforded more time
Yeah.
to reflect, because the issues that were raised there will not take a 2-minute comment. One, it is extremely wrong and worrisome for anyone give a presentation that suggests that the problems of this country begin with Jacob Zuma and will end with him.
Okay.
The first
Okay.
point. The economic policies of this country from 1994 were always headed and more so planned by a clique of a corporate sector led by Anglo-American in particular. The Transitional Economic Council that was formulated in 1993 developed the neoliberal economic policies of this particular country, and the so-called U-turn of Zuma must also be related to the U-turn of the ANC in 1993 towards the economic policy of the country when they were taking over. We moved from that particular point, we entered into the so-called Mandela era, which probably is making a fundamental mistake here. To believe that Mandela was dearly loved because he was a president of the people, overlooking the fact that actually if you would have swapped Mandela with Zuma, that Zuma would have been the president in 1994 and Mandela the current president, the crisis that is in the country today would have not taken a sweet darling, a good speech, a writer and a public speaker to convince the people of the country that you don't have a crisis. Now in 1994 there was an illusion. People believed that the problems of the country are going to be resolved by the black president. They had hopes. They gave Mandela a chance. Before the Baton got a bit hold, he handed it to Mbeki. Mbeki, who imposed neoliberal economic policies again. But why he became a problem was on the ARV question, which I think comrades need to be honest to say, whenever the president of the state challenges Western powers. Yes. That is always the case in a new colonial state. In a neo-colonial state, for as long as you impress the masters, media will never ambush anything against you, will never call you will never vilify you.
A point eloquently made.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. A point eloquently made.
That's why I'm saying it's a bit challenging to actually afford us this little time. Now the fundamental question that Prof, together with my brother and colleague, Bobby, we should be able to dwell much on, is that there was a campaign towards 2007 and post that Mbeki has failed the country, must leave, and there was no question about what happens beyond Mbeki. And people occupied themselves with the removal of Mbeki, and when he was removed, we are here again, that Zuma must be removed. There's no question about what happens post the Zuma leadership, so that when there's a Save SA protest, so that when there's a Zuma must fall protest, there's a charter adopted by the people of this country on the demands that must be implemented post the removal of Zuma. But now we have a situation where people are just campaigning popularly so that the Zuma must go, and you are going to lend us into Ramaphosa's leadership. And when Ramaphosa leads this country, you are going to take us back to the Lonro question, where Roland gave this man shares in Lonmin, where Roland gave this man a house in Sandras. And today you don't think Ramaphosa is captured, you don't think the wives of Radebes are captured, you don't think all these people who have shares in the companies that are owned by the clique led by Anglo-American. The only captured clique in South Africa,
yes,
it is the association with the Guptas. We don't promote the Guptas, but we find it extremely wrong for anyone to come and suggest that there has not been a capturing of those who were given shares coming from unions, having nothing in their pockets and in their accounts, suddenly they own shares in the mines. When people are killed in Marikana, we don't question them because they are protecting their own interests in those particular mines. Let us begin to ask, is land redistribution part of the agenda in the mass campaign that is led today? Is free education part of that? Because we know for a fact, immediately we raise that, Sipo Pitana will disappear from the project.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to take you. Then from there I come here. Yeah. Then from there, we'll make a plan in future. Just to spend the whole day with you.
Thanks. My name is Rio Mai. So actually, I'm going to conquer with the last speaker because my question is straight to Comrade Bab.
Yeah, then you can just, because if you're going to repeat what has already been said, you can just,
Comrade Bab, as we are marching with Save South Africa, if the nuclear deal were given to the West imperialists and the the US, which are the current funders of your organization of the federation, where you're going to march.
Okay.
Because the issue is because the nuclear deal is given to the Russians.
Okay.
And it's a matter of BRICS and the Western, the exchange of economy to
Great.
BRICS.
Okay, I think your question was very clear. Let me come this side. Yes, Mazwi?
Yeah, thanks, Prof. My question is directed to Andy. I heard him earlier on making quasi-Marxist rhetoric about who owns the economy and so on and so forth. My question is that since he's saying that Jacob Zuma, since the last sauna, has seen Damascus, why is he maintaining the CPS contract, which is a company that is owned by imperialists? Why is Jacob Zuma creating commission of inquiry after commission of inquiry to deal with the tuition fee-free education matter? I mean, this matter has been pending. The same Jacob Zuma is praising today is the one that is sitting on this. Why didn't he remove Batabile Dlamini, who actually made sure that CPS retains its contract, and then remove Pravin Gordhan? Who's more captured and who's not?
Who's more captured and who's not? Yes, my brother.
Who should be president of South Africa?
Straight to the point. Who should be the president of South Africa? I can be generous. Yes. I can be generous. Just be quick. Don't abuse my generosity.
Simple question.
Yeah.
So those that will be supporting Save South Africa tomorrow, are they aware that part of Save South Africa means people who are mistakenly got shot of being baboons in Limpopo are part of what they will be saving tomorrow? People who goes to Durban every December to go for swimming, who are being referred to as monkeys, who go to be released in December. That is part of what they will be saving. An education of our country that still need to be decolonized. That is what they will be part of saving as tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Of what they are actually saving, other than Jacob Zuma and the removal of Pravin Gordhan, what else is part of what monopoly capital is trying to save?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There was a hand there. Okay. Yes, my brother. You are the last one to speak.
Good morning. I wanted to ask, and please do not misunderstand me, but what is land without education? I mean, we have many black people, black children out there. They are not educated enough to know what to do with land. I mean, I can have land, I can have this thing, but then if I don't know how I'm going to use it, if I'm going to rent it to the white people, how will I, what use will it be to me? Because it's useless to have land without education. So I think that before land, before anything else, comes education, because the white people who you are saying that they are whatever, they are smart enough to know what to do with what they have. It's not a matter of them being, of them using black people or whatever, or whatever land.
I think your point is made.
Smart. So
I think,
yeah.
I think your point is made. Let me take you, my brother, the last point.
Thank you, Chair. I think you mentioned that we need transformation at the Reserve Bank, and we need black banks, and we also need land. And Pravin Gordhan and
Jonas
were removed because they did not support the transformation of those other issues that we are raising. But the people of South Africa are saying now the president is not taking us anywhere. And we did not have a problem, or we don't have a problem when those two were removed. Why do we suddenly have a problem when people of South Africa are saying the president must step down?
Thank you very much. Okay, let me just take the lady. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Robert Kaukai from the Young Community. My question will be raised directly to former president of COSATU.
No, yes, former
Former secretary of COSATU. What I will say is that, Comrade Bazi, if I recall back, post-Polokwane, on the removal of Comrade Mbeki, you were also taking a lead to say Comrade Mbeki must go. Then today again, after 5 years, the same person again is leading the program to say Comrade Zuma must go. So I just to ask myself a question to say, is your project to to remove people.
Okay, I think the point is quite clear. I think the point is quite clear. Let me go back to our panelists. I don't have any particular order. Maybe I can just start with you, Mr. Pandi. Okay.
Let me start with the last question.
Yeah.
When I was marching on Friday, I was marching with the Deputy General Secretary of the SACP. Just like I was marching with him before 2007. So you should ask both of us. Don't say Vavi, say the SACP that you are part of was marching and is calling on Jacob Zuma to resign. So why now, Vavi? Why not recognizing that the SACP have been in press conferences calling on Jacob Zuma to resign? So
Okay, no.
I'm going to come back to that.
Give me an opportunity to respond.
But I was just dealing with the factual inaccuracies that are being deliberately done in order to attack the person. The very same organization that you are coming from is in the streets calling on Jacob Zuma to resign.